Well, hello there, everybody. How you doing? A little bit of Dwayne Allman and Eric Clapton. Love those jam sessions. Left the link. Check it out. Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, Intelligence Day. That's what they say. So we speak Gnostics here. So yeah. Hey, favor to be upon us all. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Know you have a lot of other places you could choose, but thank you for being part of the Soul Tribe's journey. Yeah, get all the buttons. Good. Do. So the bus has left the station. Strap in your seats. For those of you who have the 5-point seat belts, make sure that they're firmly snug and get propelled because, yes, we are going to be propelled into reality. And along the way, we will intermix with time. We'll visit space, have a barbecue. But leave it no doubt, it is reality. Now, when we get back to the bus station, hey, you're on your own. So that's all I got to say. Hey, Robert V, what's up? Your favor be unto you as well, my friend. Trust you're feeling good. Brian, how you doing, Grandpa? Go. Good to see you. Barry, how you doing, brother? Think about you often. I hear Big Al is up in Wyoming. Is that where y'all are at? Well, so Perry saying hello to you as well. Don't know who's driving, but anyway, hey, Scotty boy. Good to see you. Joyce, what's up? Nina, the Mystic, she has her show 1 hour after this one. Check her out. Let me rephrase that. Go to her channel and check out the channel. All right. Hey, Elderberry, what's happening? Deborah Sloan, how you doing, my love? Good to see you. Jules, hello. Eye of the Maelstrom, how are you doing? Someone says, man, y'all got a lot of moderators here. Not really. It's just part of the soul tribe. I mean, we got each other's back. That's the great thing. And even if you're not on the moderator list, you're still a moderator. I mean, think about it. Hey, Janie, good to see you. So, Joyce, what's up? Hey, Jules, good to see you. Julianne from down under. Must be hot down there because it is bare ass cold up here and snowy, but love it. Could use about another 3 feet. So, hey, Shannon, what's up? How the hell are you? Good to see you from Texas. By the way, speaking of Texas, had an individual who lives in West Texas, Midland to be precise. And if there are any groups, clubs, get together, particularly on the side of Magick, let me know. I'll be sending that onwards. It is 22222. So 22 to you too. Good to see you. Hey, Energy Shifter, what's happening? Good to see you. Yes. I sent out the phone call. Hope everyone got it. So today is Intelligence Day, right? Got me to thinking. By the way, be of service to others. And if you live by that motto, the inevitability of that is there'll be service to you. Yeah. It's a circle. May the circle be unbroken by and by. Yeah, sometimes them songs just stay with you. It was that song back in 1970, Put Your Hand in the Hand of the Man from Galilee. It was a great song, had a great riff in it. Put your hand in the hand of the man from the waters. Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, what happened to me? I was there and then I wasn't there. I hope I'm still alive. Hit the button. You hit the button, you never know what's happening. So let's see what else. Hey, Jackie, what's going on? So, you know what kind of keeps me concerned? Yeah, I got concerns. Don't have many, but To be forewarned is to be forearmed, right? So us in America, I tell you, we are so screwed. And I know our words have power and effect, but under this current model, I mean, we're just screwed. This is the U.S. National Debt Clock. You can go and see usdebtclock.org. And there are a couple of things to pay attention here, Americans. You can now see our debt has surpassed $30 trillion. Now, that is bad, but it's not as bad as it really is bad because it gets worse. So what that means, every person in America who is a citizen, you already owe $90,000, 222. There's 222. What is that about? And by the way, if you're a taxpayer in America, you owe a whopping 200, let's just round it off, $240,000. Do you have $240,000? Well, you see, part of the contract is you're in debt for this. Your home, your car, your savings, your children. Yeah, all collateral. So look at our spending. Boy, we are off to the races, almost $7 trillion. Now, here's the scary number. It's right here, this total debt to GDP ratio. If this was you and I, they could arrest us because it could be determined in court that we perpetrated a fraud. You see, if you know going into a transaction agreement that you're already broke, beyond broke, that's fraud. Well, here's the thing. You can see this number is 141.88%. It's in the red. That means that we have surpassed our gross domestic product by 142%. And I won't spend much more time on this, but you begin to understand that when you've got the red numbers, yeah, it's the big surprise coming is this revenue per citizen. You see, I did the whole thing on the chattel birth certificates. We're going to get into what is legal and what is, how shall we say, permissible, lawful. Big difference. But the big thing is right there, it shows that the average person is contributing each year $12,207 in taxes. But that's deceptive because the way the tax structure is spread out, it gets really interesting. Now, as I leave, so you look at this, what they're saying, the total households in America, now this is what they're loaning on, they're borrowing on, is us. Because the United States is technically bankrupt. We're broke. We're broke sons of bitches. I mean, hey, buddy, can you spare another trillion? So you look at that U.S. debt held by foreign countries, nearly $8 trillion, right? Now, here's what they're banking on. Look at the household assets. You see, Americans, they figure that everything that we own is worth $166 trillion. Then that adds to the national asset, which is another $200 trillion. Now, here's the thing. This is how they keep the balance sheet, because you can't have an off balance sheet. Can't. there, the thing is, you see where it came up here into the per citizen, per taxpayer debt. Well, that's being offset by this little number here. So each one of us who are a citizen, you have a worth, according to the books right now, you should be able to go into any lending institution, any bank, Federal Reserve, doesn't matter, and show them this. You are worth, well, a little over $603,000. So when you look at this liability of Social Security of 21 trillion, the Medicaid liability, which is going to go whoop, that is almost 34 trillion. The total unfunded liabilities that the United States citizens owe is nearly, well, 164 trillion, making the liability per citizen 493,391. So what you will do then, you take that 493, you add it to the 239, deduct the 602, 603. That's how close we are. Like, oh shit. And this is kind of interesting. So you know how many people are retired in the United States. We know approximately how many are disabled. This is interesting because this is where it gets really upside down, where this numbers are concerned, is the Medicare enrollees and Medicaid recipients. And then lastly, I guess everyone would like to know, in the United States, or currently, there are 22,011,682 millionaires. There you go. Bottom line, these numbers begin to get, well, you can see 200 trillion offset by 164 trillion. Anyway, these are the things that were on my mind this day, for whatever may. Yeah. And someone's going, but wait a minute, you know, it's hard to go out and afford, you know, buying hamburger or buying fresh vegetables. Apples are becoming, you know, almost about $1.50 per apple. Yeah. James says, we need to understand it's all funny money. Not funny if you're, yeah, it's not funny when you're, James, we're on the line. We're on the hook. You know, that's the problem. The fiat system sucks. You know, that's why they're so much against the cryptocurrencies, and regulations will be coming soon. It was the one thing that I guess technology really screwed the man with. It's when the guy who came up with the whole Bitcoin, I was at Money 2020 in 2014, and on the panel where it was discussing, you know, the transition from the fiat currency into this new currency, which you could basically say that the currency could be based upon any country's balance sheet, if you look at per citizen, right? But anyway, I digress. So what else happened? Our angel, Umabel, I guess you could say. There we go. Angel of affinity and friendship, the God above all things. Well, we could use that right now. There ain't no doubt about it. This is the patron of physics, astronomy, eschatology, animals, vegetables, and the mineral kingdom. You know, we don't hear much on this. I know Karen, Queen of Quartz, many of us, Grandpa Brian has a beautiful store near him. I mean, the kingdom of minerals. Wow. Think about that one. most of us are pretty well versed with, the plant and the animal. We're part of the animal. Thank you, C. Karen. Put it right up there. By the way, hello, Gaia, Susie Q, so many of the others. I think Martin and Heidi and Paul and Gaia and all the rest of y'all. So anyway, protector of, get my lights on, teachers and interpreters. Wow. Teaches how to develop a mind, develop a sharp mind. Yeah. So anyway, there we go, for what it is worth. So that clock thing, wow, it's freaky, man. I mean, I tell you what, the thing that gets me, the reason why I love reading different points of view about where we come from is because the reality is we're being traded. We're chattel. That's all we are. What we do in between the time we're born into this realm, in which I think it's actually dying into this realm, and the time that we are born out of this realm. I mean, death is just a perspective, right? Who says because the sensation of the body is somehow death? It could very well be birth. It's just that we've been screwed up being taught things that most of us have no freaking idea where it comes from. That's why I love Jules. I mean, Julianne shows us how to break words down. And the word magic, we're still going to get into that. Lawful and legal. Yeah. And I feel so used, man. I mean, it's like, what? You only like me because of what? I can remember that conversation way back in my youth. And most of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And you get the point like, well, now come on, man. I'm more than that. There's a whole lot more than what, but no, because remember, we found out in order for them to trade us, we're already technically dead. We have this personification, which then screws this whole thing up, because then you're the citizen and yada, yada, yada. And you're going, but wait a minute. I mean, how many times has the government sent us a check? By the way, Grandpa Brian, here's a check for $4,200 of the quarterly increases that we saw on the profit of who you are. I mean, isn't that fair? If they're making a profit off of us, I mean, we should share in some of that bounty, right? Poquito, I think I saw Saul. Saul, welcome. Saul's primary language is Espanola. And I don't know a lot of your language, Saul, but thank you for, number one, being a part of the journey and the soul tribe, and figuring out what this here cowboy is saying. Like, what did he just say? Did he really say that? Anyway, so just some things to think about. The sons of bitches always making money off of us. That's what sucks. They trade our information at least a dozen or more times. Each transaction that has you, right? The bots are listening here. They're listening for advertising. They're listening for emotional trends. They're listening for new possible trends, words, comments. So every time your name, your information is being sold or traded, someone's making money off that. I'm just saying, why don't they just make it a law that on every transaction, we should at least get what? 40%? They may say, well, that sounds greedy, but wait a minute. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be getting any percent. Yeah. There's the old expression, take a crap in this hand and make a wish in this hand and seize what weighs the most. Yeah. Common Sense Theology and Philosophy by R. Wayne Steiger. Okay. Today is Wednesday. It is Intelligence Day. It's really cool. So the question at hand is this: who committed us to death? What was the offense or crime? And who is responsible for setting the standard, much less executing the sentence? It's very clear. We know that if the species before us were long-lived, then something happened to us where we're short-lived. So who did that? That's the quest, right? Hey, Martin and Heidi. Good. I think 100%. Martin, I don't have a problem with that. But politicians, we don't have statesmen. We have politicians now. It's sad, but most of them end up losing their soul, it seems like, in the so-called service of the public. I had to write a congressperson and said, you do know that you're a servant to the public. You're not this royalty. They didn't write back. Probably sent me a message via the middle finger, but hey, I have been known to tell more than a few senators off to their face and a hell of a few congresswomen and men. And they don't like it, particularly when you embarrass them in front of an audience over 1,000 people. I mean, after all, they did want to take a question from the audience. And when you position the question that really exposes them, then you get the message from, let's say, others in attendance that, you really pissed him off. In fact, he's not going to come back and do any more appearances here. What? Because I asked him an honest question in which he never gave me an honest answer. That's a politician. Okay, moving right on. It's 12/22/22/22. Yeah. See, Project Skyfall, you saw the same thing. It sucks, man. And so when you look at the so-called physical reality, well, it's very apparent that you and I have very little control in one aspect of that reality. We're certainly not getting interest checks. Hell, we're not getting any checks at all. We're having to pay. And then it leads you to wonder, as below, so above is so below, as it is within, so it is without. Okay. The out is the same as the. So wait a minute. Does this mean they have control of our souls, our spirits? Are we tricked into thinking that we have this sentience, this self-will, this choice? Don't know. Energy says, because they aren't interested anymore. Ain't that the truth? Nuts. So Amy, I think it was Amy who sent me this book. I'm still reading it, and wowza. This is the Reptilian Disclosure Project. This is a fascinating book. I mean, it really is. Like I said, it and you can see there's over 1,600 pages to this book. But boy, oh boy, look at the symbols in the background, folks. Pay attention to all this. Do you see the commonality between them all? The serpent, right? I have, the Bloodline Invader series was some of my earlier work was about this. I was shown this. I've known it for a very long time, and as does others. And when someone says, well, if you really want to read an interesting book, and they left the book, I think that this one, it's unlike, I guarantee, most things that you've read. So I just want to spend a second in here because this is interesting. This is an interesting point of view of creation. This is the begin all acts and thinking by using the El Kolom, the all, tablet 1, epic of creation and before. Lo, O my children, allow me to speak with you, for it is that time again, every 25,000 years, for the renewal of your way of life. Nu Wabu, let me speak with you of the beginnings. The beginnings of life, before and after the knowledge bestowed upon you and your very own creation, and the making of this planet you call Earth, and the many other planets of which you have no knowledge of. Your soul, that is, the emotional you, is about to embark upon a journey through time and space within existence, through a time not yet encountered by the Ba-Ha-Ma, the human beast, and the human beings, the children of the Aloham, the human being of Hu, which means creative force of will, and Mem, also Mimi, meaning deity of birth, which is another name for mother, Nenti, who gave birth to mortals. The human being of Hu, creative force of will again, and Main, from the Latin, spirits of the dead. Within the confines of this holy tablet, you shall embark upon such knowledge which has never before been seen or been made so clear as this for you by any. Let me start by telling you about the beings that existed trillions of Earth years before the pre-Cambrian period, before you, human beings, were created in their physical form upon the planet Tiamat, which is now called Earth. From the word Arudu, there existed supreme beings of pure green light, ethereal, and sub-supreme beings of the impure amber light, fire. You cannot fully comprehend their beginnings because their time zone is much greater than your ability to comprehend at this point. Yet this very tablet, which you are holding in your hand, will open your eyes to their time zones that are in and beyond space. These supreme beings, called the Ananagai or Natiru, whose way of life was called Nu Wabu, were endowed by the El Kul Loam, the All, with a superior overstanding, 700 degrees in all, 360 degrees of spiritual or ethereal state, the circle, and 360 degrees of the physical material state, the square. Glory be to the one appointed, who is called in tones Anu, and on earth El Eho, known to many by different titles, and the best of which is known to you as Ansars, which is Allah, in which he is, 360 degrees of the physical world, and the light of this heaven and earth in which he is also. You should know that eventually the time will come when these supreme beings, the Anunnaki, would have to descend upon this planet Earth in order to guide the inhabitants back towards their home in and beyond the stars. It's kind of a veiled warning that, according to this manuscript, they're coming back, may already be here, thereby helping them to become once again the supreme beings of the pure green light, the ethereal energy that they once were. But first, one must be present, be sent to prepare a way, and that one is myself. All capital letters, by the way. And so it was, for once humans became rulers over the planet Earth, you gradually forgot that your purpose in life was to gain your way back towards, and by the way, this is one of the first pictures I've seen. This is Anu, the heavenly one. Get ready. The sustainer, which would be the token home. But instead, you became engrossed in your own desires. While in pursuit of physical gratification and material gain, humans forgot the purity with which they were formed. As a result, you have strayed from the original ways of the universe and the spiritual path that led you to your true destiny, universal right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right overstanding, on to sound right reasoning called Nu Wa-Bu. Nu Wa-Bu informs you that there were three creations: original or primary creation, primus from primus, first, before the lightest atom, hydrogen, energies existed as a form of energy existing in the form of gases, 9 levels of them, from quarks to biaps to zetas and zales, referred to as subatomic energy. Before weight, or the sum of any weight, registering as nothingness, yet existing, being lighter than the first form of existence, hydrogen. Secondary or evolutionary creation, the evolving of existence from density to matter to atoms to cells to organisms to bodies and territory, or what we call teratius, from teratius, third, or the gastrial creation, the ghosturial creation, the breath of life, the living soul, the existing conscious being. Wow. So the ghosturial creation, the breath of life, the living soul, the existing consciousness being. That's what we are. Primary creation was performed by 9 ether beings, simply the Etherians, whose science is Nu Wa-Bu. 9 ether represents birth, conception, as in 9 and birth, or the sum total of numbers. There are no numbers actually higher than 9. Nu Wa-Bu means to convey a message that results in sound, right reasoning. So there must be a conveyor, and a listener of the message. The message is life. The conveyor is existence. 3 sets of 3, or triple darkness, First set, before light, before energy, before matter. Second set, before time, before space, before place. Third set, before body, before soul, before spirit. And here, spirit and soul are not the same. They may be in the same package. 9 ether is the combination of all existing gases of nature. Nothing anywhere can be as powerful as all the existing gases. On Earth, these gases are known as the following: radon, periodical name Rn, with an atomic number of 26. Xenon, Xe, on the periodical chart with an atomic number of 54. Krypton, Kr, with an atomic number of 36. Argon, Ar, with an atomic number of 18. Neon, Ne, with an atomic number of 10. And helium, He, with an atomic number of 2. These are also called the noble gases on a periodic or elemental chart. On the physical chart, however, on the ethereal chart, they are listed as thus: E2, E10, E15, E26, E36, E54. And note the word element and elementary from elementum, first principle, rudiment, beginnings, used as elementary, the beginning without importance as of yet. Therefore, 9 ether is the most potent power in all of the boundless universes. 9 ether is the original creator who grew all the universes. 9 ether beings utilize the forces that yield energy, versing energy into one form. The universe, uni, meaning uni, form unus, one, and verse, meaning vertere, to turn, a spiral, spiraling outward from a single point. Creation, from the word create, to bring forth, create, produce, to cause, to grow, means growth into form or system. Destruction means change in form or composition. 9 ether is conscious and conscious gases. The Melaninites, this is really interesting, by the way. There is Balat, sister of Murdoch, who come into play on this. Means the originally woolly-haired, dark-skinned Moors or Moors came along with the original creation. That is the same kind of ether forces that grew the universe. As nature was growing, these Melanites were a part of the original growth. Melon grew with original creation. To come along with a thing is to grow with or within it. 6 ether or 9 points from ether, 1 into darkness. The Melanites manifest from point 1 in hydrogen on into 9 elements, the 8th being oxygen for life. The dot, the nagut, is the point of origin of things, the first sum. Therefore, the Melanites and their evolutionary descendants are the personifications of original creative forces. Hue, 7 in all, as the 7 species of the Rhizcorins, I think it's the Rizcorins, probably wrong on that, but anyway, who have 7 species of the Melaninites or the New Wabayans, called the Negroids. And you have 3 species of Mongoloids and 2 species of Caucasianoids, Caucasianoids, all growing out of the original New Wa beings. Simply, these Melaninites created the universe in their etheric form. 9 ether then personified themselves as flesh and blood beings. They became human beings from atoms to atom. There are 2 kinds of ether, 9 ether and 6 ether in human form. 9 ether produces 6 ether Caucasians, and 6 ether produce ghost, death, not to be mistaken with the ether of hair that range from 6, 7, 8, and 9 in hair texture, from flat to hollow to round. Crazy stuff. 9 ether will become 6 ether through time and age, die. 6 ether becomes ghost through time and age. 6 ether, the albinos, is 9 ether, the new Wabans, in death, and ghost is the death of 6 ether. After the death of 6 ether, 9 ether resurrects again. 6 ether is the moon, and 9 ether is the sun. Hence, 6 ether is adverse to 9 ether, just as death is adverse to life. All this takes place within the all. It was then that the true force of the universe personified those supreme beings. The original Melanites, dark-skinned, woolly-haired Moors, personified by both sound and electric energy, both positive and negative electro, from modern Latin electrus, meaning resembling amber, amber meaning being negative, and magnetic from Latin magnetus, lodestone, being positive, light or the Illuminati being electro, and the light spectrum being magnetism. The cosmic ray for emerald being from 001 nanometers, nana equals the deity sin, meter equals mother or meter in tones, matar meaning matter or material, from to 99,000 miles. Nanometer is the modern term used and preferred over angstrom, used in measuring visible light. 1 nanometer is 10 to the 9th power, 1 billionth of a meter. It is equal to 1 angstrom, being a unit of length equal to 100th million of a centimeter, used especially to specify radiation wavelengths, also called angstrom units, after Anders Jonas Angstrom, a Swedish astronomer and physicist. Light is defined by wavelengths, which is the measure of the distance from one peak to top or wave of light or energy to another. Cosmic rays, and by the way, these are what the Rizquians look like. Very fascinating. The shortest and the longest being electric power. Between the two are gamma rays, which is electronic radiation sent from radioactive decay, ranging from 10,000 to 10 million electron volts. X-rays, which is a relatively high energy photon or amount of electronic energy used for penetration power. Also, ultraviolet light rays, which are a range of invisible radiation ranging from 4 nanometers to 380 nanometers. Just beyond the color violet is the visible spectrum, infrared rays, a range of invisible radiation bordering along microwaves about 750 nanometers. Microwaves, a high-frequency electromagnetic wave measuring 1 milliliter to 1 meter in length. Television waves, the transferring of visual images and sound using electromagnetic waves with the reconversion of received waves into visual images. Radio waves, a wireless transmission through space with a frequency of 10 kilohertz to 3000 megahertz. The electric power coming from the reactions of attraction and repulsion of unlike and like photons and electrons. Deep stuff. I mean, it certainly ain't the book of Genesis, that's for damn sure. Television waves and radio waves are also forms of light laser. There is also the visible spectrum, which runs from 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers in wavelengths. Nanometers being 1 billionth, 10 to the ninth negative, to the minus negative 9 of a meter. From the word nana, the Sumerian deity Sin, S-I-N, and meter from the Greek metron, meaning measure, with all light flowing through a prism or a medium that represents whatever is seen through it, used to separate white light coming from the late Latin prima, from Greek prima, thing, sawed off, prison, from presin, prezan, to saw. This light becomes 6 colors: yellow, blue, red, green, orange, and purple. Light in its spheric form is at its atomic level. When you see full spectrum light in its physical state, it manifests as blackness. That is, all light and color combined are blackness. And the manifestation of the solid form of light is melon. Wow. So tell me, how does a light being come from darkness? That's the tale we're told. You know, well, Christ is the message of light. Lucifer is the light bearer. God of the Bible, the Abrahamic gods, came from the darkness. It's right there in print. No one wants to believe it, but that is the truth. Here is just another form that simply says the purest light. That's what it says right here. The purest light is black, darkness. All light and color combined are blackness. And the manifestation of the solid form of light is melanin. Thus, they manifested from the great circle and throne of wisdom to this meager place. This is how the events of creation and pre-creation were recorded, when life existed in and beyond the stars. The all is, was, and will be. Felt within a love, a divine love that is unknown or felt by those disagreeable beings, and thus emotions were. At the first birth of emotions was the birth of motion. Isn't that interesting? Emotion would be emotion, E. Things gradually began to move about, and it was then that movement and motion was conceived out of triple darkness, for the light birthed the chaos. Wow. Kind of goes, don't go to the light. Don't go to the light, Carolyn. Or you hear, run, Forrest, run. You know, it's a trap. There you go. That's a heavy one. Things gradually began to move about. This is emotions. And it was then that movement and motion was conceived out of triple darkness, for the light birthed the chaos. Well, this is just turning the damn tables upside down everywhere. Now you're telling me light is now the darkness, or darkness is now the light, but the light came and birthed chaos? Well, if something gave chaos, then how can that be good? Thus, the motion to create did manifest in existence, and all that exist within the all. This is like the book, I Am. I mean, there's just a number of books we've covered very similar. Thus, things became what they were to become known as before they existed and what they would exist as. This is true caring. If you say you love Anu, then why do you not have faith in Anu, who is also known as El Elah, Elohim, Yahweh? I don't know, extrapolate. Who is called in rhythm Allah by Muslims, meaning one who are of peace. Be on your guard, for they have been invaded by the disagreeable ones, children as well. Anu is also called Yahweh by the Hebrews, Theos by Christians. Well, now, who is Theos? And God by many others. He was appointed by the all as your caretaker. Anu appointed one of the Yahwehians called Tammuz, son of Ishtar or Inanna, daughter of Nanar, Sin, also called Isis or Aset, also called Astari, Ashtaroth, and Paragon, Cybele, also Sybil and Kali. Wow. It's almost like you're in a, this, the reason why I find this unsettling is that there only seems to be one exit here. Only one choice. And it seems like no matter what the name of the deity is, of the belief, the religion, whatever, doesn't matter. It's just merely a mask, because it all still comes down to one or two, it appears. This Tammuz was also called in tones Horus, Theos, Yeshua, Isa, Jesus, Christo, and son of the Tammuz, who is called Osiris, User, Dionysus, Dionysus, shed of Eli, and Abba of the Tammuz, or Obadiah, the Heavenly Father, son of the Heavenly One, Anu. Kind of goes hand in hand with what we were reading on Monday. We'll get back to that tomorrow. But it's all boiling this down. It's like we're making, a bouillabaisse. We started out with what we thought were a lot of different ingredients, but when you bring it all down, it's the same. Jesus is just another name for Horus, Theos, Yeshua, Isa. It's nuts. Thus, it is said of this Tammuz, then the Enostites began to call upon the name of the Yahweh. If you say you have faith by way of him, who is your caretaker, Anu, who appointed Yeshua, Mashkiah, called Isa, Jesus, and Tammuz. Then I ask you, why do you not trust in him? For it is Anu, also called El, that is trustworthy. Told you it's an interesting book, and this is why we've got to keep an open mind. We're sifting for gold here. Sometimes to get the gold, ask Karen. Got to go through a ton of dirt, right? But this is really interesting because it ties everything. It means there already is but one religion. There is only actually one theology. No matter how many subgroups you have, it's still one. If you say you are sensible, then why do you not tremble at the mention of Anu? This is just me and my hedonistic ways. If I got to be afraid of something, then that's an enemy of mine. If you cause fear to come upon me, you're my enemy. And I will do everything to overcome you. And fear will be the first thing that I overcome. And when I overcome the fear of you, best watch your ass, God or no God. Surely it is Anu that has been appointed to be your caretaker. You see here again, the problem with this speech, and I've read this already, is the fact that if you have to have a caretaker, it means that you are not intelligent enough to be on your own. You're not mature enough. You're not responsible enough. You cannot be trusted. And thus, you must have an overlord, a caretaker. Problem is with caretakers, they tend to be tyrannical, authoritarians. Yeah. Again, who committed this death sentence? And has been appointed to and has been appointed the anointed one, the Yahweh called Tammuz, from which the door at the gate of the wall, is that Wahuah? The woman of that house wept for Tumaz. Again, this is merely one of the many houses of Yahweh. Thus is recorded in the scripture of Ezekiel, the 8th degrees and the 14th verse. All right, I'll stop right there. I mean, I wanted to introduce it merely because, and it gets deeper. I haven't nearly gotten into it, but I am. It's a different point of view. I like the fact that it brings into the ether that would make sense. The noble gases. Every planet has gases on it. Our Earth, I mean, combination of all the gases are here. And to think that they are actual living, well, they're beyond what we consider life. Wow. Amy, thank you for recommending the book. I hope that it was interesting for you as well. Tomorrow, we're going to continue to build upon this because here's an interesting correlation, and the timing of it was perfect. So all the names are the same name. Now, this gets interesting in the study when we get into Magick, calling upon angelic names, many which are Hebraic in origin. I don't know why we wouldn't look at Latin. Probably be easier. Energy shifter. Oh, the name of the book, and I'll bring it out here so you can see, is the Reptilian Disclosure Project. You can go to www.resistance2010.com. It's an interesting read. Again, I thought it was very timely because the names, again, if all the angelics, if all the jinn, if the invisible ones, the unseen race that's here, and I think there's more than one race in the invisible, they're not invisible. That's just it. We just can't see them. Thus, they become invisible to us. They're not hiding anywhere. And isn't it interesting when you think about all light is darkness, when we've captured now on camera what we call shadow people, shadow beings. They have no solid mass that we can see, but how we capture them is by the shadow of their movements. And we call it, but it's actually them. Now, the question is, how is that happening? I mean, from photons to atoms, right? How does that coincide with the laws, the natural laws? It has to be a science that apparently we haven't gotten. So, all right. Thank you, Nina. Isn't it just fascinating? It allows me to see, Nina, how I see this is a whole realm of spirituality that I haven't heard anyone teach on. I've not seen any teaching out there that begins to bring the spirit into these essences of where spirit comes from, the ether, the 9 ethers. Mind blown. I'll do the Joe Biden thing. Mind blown. All right, folks, join Nina. She's left the link there. She comes on in about 59 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want the book, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Join me tomorrow. We're going to continue on with this journey. Thanks, Jules. Much love to you, hon. Bernadette, thank you. All the moderators and everyone else. I am Nancy says, I'm done. I went off this right. Well, Nancy, I hope it wasn't, bad. It's just knowledge, that's all. All right. Peace, everybody. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we'll meet tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.